Rob.
Hello everyone and welcome to Rob's Rogues in a Batman Universe, and today we're taking a look at DC Collectibles, Red Hood and the Outlaws, DC Comics, The New 52, Arsenal, action figure, and whatever else we can possibly put words on here to continue to make this a longer title than it already is. Of course, we're taking a look at Arsenal today, the second figure from the wave of the Red Hood and the Outlaws. And if you've been watching Rob's Rogues long enough, you know that I'm a big fan of anything having to do with Robin, and then also the Teen Titans. And I like the Red Hood characters being Starfire, Roy Harper, Arsenal, Red Arrow, if you will, and then, of course, Jason Todd. It was a comic book series that kind of limped on for a while, and I was reading it just because I liked the actual characters. And I've kind of stated before, recently I've dropped the title. I still kind of feel bad that I'm not reading it because I do love the three characters, but the writing just hasn't been that good. But now I can enjoy the three characters in action figure form, and I don't feel as bad. If they would just kind of kick Scott Lobdell back to the curb again, I might consider picking up Red Hood and the Outlaws. I like the concept, but we're going to let that go for a later time. We're taking a look at the figure here today, not the comic book, although you'll see comic book images here in just a little bit. But we'll take a look at the package. Very much the same as the packaging, pretty much for all standard DC figures. And then, of course, the Red Hood and the Outlaws packaging is just basically the same as the other figures in the packaging. It's a lot to spit out there. But we'll show you the side panels here. This is sculpted by Derek Miller, which I think Olivia made mention in her review, and I've seen some other people's do reviews, that I think this might be the first sculpted figure by him, at least as far as the New 52 has gone. I haven't picked up every single New 52 figure yet, but at least the ones that I've got, I have not remembered saying his name. The side panel art here, I really like this one of Arsenal. I think it's a nice drawn image of it, and it just has that whimsical feel to the Roy Harper character that I really like. And then here is the back of the figure. The other figures in the wave are obviously Starfire, and then the long-awaited Jason Todd Red Hood. Let me raise the camera up just a little bit here, and we will take a look at the bio for Arsenal. It says, troubled as a youth and into adulthood, former Green Arrow protege Roy Harper now fights evil with Red Hood and the Outlaws. This new action figure is based on designs from his action-packed monthly comic series. The character designs are actually based off of Kenneth Rocafort from Red Hood and the Outlaws' first run of the New 52. That's where these designs came from. So we'll get the Arsenal figure out of the package here. Let's zoom back out to a decent view here, drop the camera, and while I'm setting up, I will turn you over to the slideshow to show you the early designs that these figures were taken from. And not much has changed, but I believe these are the designs that Kenneth Rocafort came up with first, and that's why they are sculpted and look the way that they do, and especially, more notably, the Red Hood figure. But we'll be right back in just a second. All right, we have Arsenal out of package, and I love this figure. Now, I've got him set up here with the bow pulled back. It was a little tricky to do. It's not actually technically correct the way I have it set up. There's no place for the arrow to kind of rest in here. Let's see if I can do this without dropping the arrow. You can kind of see how I cheated this. Let's get a little extra light here. So I've got it actually leaned up on the arrow here, and I just dropped the arrow, which I did not want to do. So I'm going to pause it real quick, and I'm going to go retrieve the arrow before I lose it. And I do have some QC issues with this Arsenal figure. It's in the hips, and like Shakira would say, the hips don't lie, and the hips aren't supposed to be rocking unless you're Shakira. So we'll get into right to that. I mean, first of all, I love the figure. I think he's beautifully sculpted, or ruggedly sculpted since he's a guy action figure. Man, America. So I think he's sculpted rather well. Actually, really good. Since I was talking about QC, let's look at it. There are the loose hip syndrome. The ever so popular, I don't think it's because it's the clear joint. Whatever, you can see if I push the hips this way, there's a space. And I go that way, there's a space. So the clear peg that's supposed to hold this, let's just spread your legs open here, Arsenal. Apologize. The clear peg, you see that piece right in there? That piece is not this one right here. I don't know if you can see if I got my stupid fingers out of the way. There's a piece right here. That is supposed to be in the middle of the figure. So it looks like it's just not glued in. It's only fastened in. I keep getting out of frame. It's only fastened in on one side of the figure. So I think if I could get some glue, some super glue in here on a toothpick or something, and just glue that piece in, because you can see on this side, see it's just a rounded peg going straight through. Again, trying to get my fingers out of the way and get in the light source. And then you get to this side, you can kind of see that square piece. This is the part that's not attached. So if I slide that back out, I think you can see that piece right there. So that one side sticking out. So I wouldn't say, oh my gosh, DC Collectibles, you suck. No, I just think when you're mass producing figures like this, you're going to run into those problems. Okay, so aside from that little, I would say little thing, granted, I know we've kind of said before, we want everything to be perfect, and you're going to run into a few problems here and there again. Like we've been saying with mass producing figures and things like that, you could have slight little QC variations in your product. I don't think this is going to be a horrible fix. It's going to be a little painstaking to make sure I get the glue in there to seal that spot with a toothpick or something like that, but I don't necessarily think I'm going to have a hard time doing it. So I think it's something I can kind of overcome here. So anyway, aside from that, I really, really like the sculpt of this figure. That's getting back in some better light source. It appeared to have a little bit of extra shading underneath his chin, where it almost looks like the color for his lips kind of bled down into his chin a little bit, or he's got a little extra chewing tobacco that he spit out and missed. Minor little thing, but I think the face sculpt is really nice. Now, I was watching Olivia's review, and she thinks that the face kind of got smushed in a little bit from the original image that we saw, the preview image. I like the face on him. It is a little bit different than the preview image, but still overall a very, very good sculpted figure, and I like the hair. The hat is a really cool touch. Let's get a look at the logo on the hat. Maybe. That's straight out of the comic books. Maybe. I got in too far. But anyway, it's done very well. The tattoos on Roy Arsenal here are also very clean. Olivia suspected that they might have been some type of a sticker or decal put on there, because it looks identical to what I've seen so far on YouTube as far as the way they look. They seem very, very constant in everyone's figure, and that's fine. They don't look like stickers. I was trying to move it in the light to see if I could see the edge of where the sticker might be, and I really don't see it. So either that or somebody is very, very precise when they've been painting. But just the way the figure is painted, I really don't notice much overspray or overpaint or paint bleeding in. I think he's just done exceptionally well. All the pouches and laces that he has on here, the look of the leather that they painted, the kind of maroon that they chose here, just the creases and the folds in his pants and vest are done exceptionally well. And I like how they used the silver, the metallic red to go with the flat reds of the outfit. See some of the metallic in the gauntlets there. The metallic gold up and around the neck. And then obviously the metallic on the boots. Just sculpted very, very well. I really feel like we'll do a comparison with Green Arrow here in just a little bit. And I thought the first round of the Justice League figures were done remarkably well. But just seeing how they're improving their sculpting techniques through the figures, you can really kind of see the jumps and leaps and bounds that they're taking with these figures. So done very well. We'll show Green Arrow here. Now he does have two accessories. He has his arrow here that I have in his hand, and then he has his bow. Let's back the camera out just a little bit here. The bow is different than Green Arrow's. Again, when I bring Green Arrow up, we can kind of show that. But it's on like a nice taut string here. It's a kind of rubber bandish. So as you saw in the beginning of the video, I can get him posed with it to pull the string back. I don't know if I would keep it like that. I'd be putting extra tension on the string, so it could potentially break off. This is a single string on Green Arrows, I believe. I don't know my bows that well, so please excuse me. But a double compound bow where he has two strings on his bow. So any archers out there, I apologize if I'm getting all this wrong. But like I was saying, there's no spots in here for his arrows, or for his one single arrow that he comes with, which is rather odd considering Green Arrow came with 3 arrows, 2 or 3. I think he came with 3 arrows, and you could put all 3 in his quiver. And Arsenal comes with 1, and he can't put 1 in any spot. So I don't look at this and go, well, it's the first time they made the figure, so they probably forgot about it. Somebody had to go, hey, we gave Green Arrow a spot in his quiver. And again, we'll show that in a little bit. So let's get on to the articulation of the figure. And I've been a fan of Roy Harper for a while. Even before the New 52, I liked the Red Arrow character. And unlike a quick little history or tidbit, the last time we saw Roy Harper in the old continuity, he was missing an arm, part of an arm. He had it cut off in a comic book series, and then in the Young Justice cartoon, he was missing his arm. So at least in the New 52, they have given him his arm back. So, but anyway, there's a little Roy Harper trivia for you. His hat, and we don't have this very often. Let me take the arrows and stuff and the bow out of his hand. I could see me just dropping that. Now, initially, in one of the DC Collectibles videos that they had, probably about a year ago, they were showing the early sculpts of the Roy Harper figure. Let's move some light here so we can see him a little bit better. And they were, I believe in that video, they were talking about a removable hat. So, or the hat was off. Maybe they didn't say it, but we assumed that it was. But I know Olivia, Anthony, and myself, I think even Stu even commented that the hat will be removable. That would be pretty cool. The hat's not removable, but it does rotate. So if you've watched Rob's Rogues long enough, I wear my hat backwards, and a lot of that's just because I play drums. I'm going to have Roy like this. He has his hat both directions in the comics from time to time, and I like that they got the tuft of hair sticking out of the hat. I think that's a really cool touch, and it also lets you see his face a lot better. So I would think with being an archer and him wearing, he has this wonderful costume, and he's wearing his trucker hat, which I think goes to show a little bit more character of Roy Harper. So a really cool touch. So hat articulation for one of the first times in DC Collectibles. I don't know if we'll ever see it again. Let's back the camera out here a little bit. Head is on a ball joint, and mine's a little stiff, but he will look left to right, has a little bit of rocking back side to side, can look up about that much, so you can get him in a upward looking position if you needed to, and can bend down exceptionally well. So the Red Hood and the Outlaws figures, so far Roy has the best articulated head, as Starfire really doesn't. We haven't seen Jason Todd, Red Hood, yet, so we'll find out. Arms are on the standard DC Collectibles ball and socket, go all the way around 360. The arms are very fluid, which is nice. They're not stiff. He does turn at the bicep, single bend at the elbow, and there is a wrist, or a gauntlet rotation, excuse me. This is something that I think, because this is the primary Justice League line of figures, that they're not giving the main figures in the line ab crunches or rotations. Now, I know the Crime Syndicate and the Bizarro did have ab crunches and waist swivels, so it's kind of a crapshoot why they do it. This could have very easily, right around the belt, top or bottom, we should have had a waist rotation. Now, the Green Arrow figure does not have waist rotation, so I guess one could argue, well, Oliver didn't have rotation, so we're not going to give Roy rotation. But this is kind of like year 2, year 3 into DC Collectibles New 52, so they've been improving their articulation in their figures, so it baffles me that you're going to have an Archer and not be able to turn at the waist. Like we've already discussed, I do have wobbly legs, but I think I'll be able to fix that. They're on the T-jointed clear ball that we've already seen. Pins, legs go forward about that far, back, gotta kind of push mine in there, a single bend at the knee, and I like the way that the knee is kind of hidden there by the boot. Yep, there is the boot articulation and the bend at the ankle. So a decent figure. I shouldn't say decent. He's a really, really well sculpted figure. And I feel like this year for DC Collectibles, in the sculpting department, they are really, really knocking it out of the park. I think they're doing a fantastic job sculpt-wise, and even just overall figures, too. Again, it's kind of crap shootiness where the articulation is going to come into place. As you can see, the legs kind of jetted out a little bit. So what we're going to do right now, let's take a look at Roy Harper Arsenal with Green Arrow Oliver Queen himself. All right, here are Arsenal and Green Arrow together, and I think they look absolutely fantastic. And I like that, without having seen Green Arrow in a while, he's been up on my shelf, to see where they are very much alike, and the metallic parts of their boots, you know, are about the same. The gauntlets are metallic. Their bows are the metallic color, their primary color. So they're done very similar as a callback to each other. I'd be kind of interested to see in the New 52 what exactly the riff was between the two of them that caused Arsenal to leave Roy as a sidekick. As I had said, that Green Arrow's pouch does have spots for other arrows. So I have a couple DC-UC arrows in here, and then as you saw, I just dropped the Green Arrow arrow that came with it. Luckily I have a spare. The hands on the two figures are almost identical, so I think that they just used the same hand for Roy. I'm going to drop that one, so I'm not going to fight with it. But the hands are identical, so I think they used the same hands for the two characters. In the Green Arrow figure, the pants are a lot sleeker. You don't see any bags or wrinkles in the pants. They're very tight, spandexy type thing. So maybe that's just the trucker in Roy, but the two figures look really, really good together. So it's I'll probably have the Red Hood and the Outlaws kind of staged together, but I'll probably have Roy on the Red Hood's kind of staged along the side of Green Arrow, so I can kind of keep the mentors together. But I really like these two figures. So if you have a Green Arrow figure, and maybe you're a fan of the Arrow TV show and you're kind of picking up stuff like that, the Roy Harper Arsenal figure would be great to your Arrow collection, as it were. Alright, in closing, I think this is another fantastic sculpted figure and a good figure overall. Yes, I do have a little bit of a QC issue, but I'm not going to hold that against the figure, as this is one I think I could relatively easy fix. The leg was a little bowed, but I think that was due to the packaging. So a little hot water trick, I get the leg straightened out, which I really didn't point out, but you probably noticed it. But aside from that, again, a beautiful sculpted figure and another well-executed figure by DC Collectibles. Yes, they're not really consistent on their articulation. I think just about every figure probably should have a a waist swivel at least. A figure like Starfire, the waist swivel would really break up her costume a little bit, so I can kind of understand that. But at the same time, I think they could probably even make that work too. But again, another really good figure. And as far as the articulation goes, he's right on par with the Green Arrow figure. So the things that Green Arrow is limited in, it really doesn't bother me too much. As you know, I'll get these guys probably in just one pose, and then they're going to look fantastic on my shelf. So today we've been taking a look at the Arsenal figure from the Red Hood and the Outlaws, new 52 from DC Collectibles. And as always, this is Rob for Rob's Rogues, signing off saying we will see you guys next time.